is better. Hey guys, happy Wednesday. Today, again, is Wednesday, May 8th, 2019. We are in a different room. I am trying desperately to keep my sunglasses off. I'm super excited to have Andrew Brooks on the show. Been a friend of his for a long time. He's a great guy. And he's got notes. I love it when somebody brings notes. And then I want to know at the end of it how many of your notes we covered, because I'm horrible about distracting. So let us know you can, hey Ash, let us know you can hear us and see us. Super important. We're in Tony Figueroa, what's going on? We're in an interesting room in the club, which is actually helpful right now because there's only 2 windows. Sue Cook. All right, so we got a thumbs up. Thank you very much. So welcome to the show, buddy. We've been trying to do this for a while.
We have. It's been a bit of time, and I'm glad good things things that you have to wait for are always the best.
So I agree. So they always want to know an origin story, or at least I do. So hey, what's up, Wyatt? Happy belated birthday. Tell them a little bit about you. Give us a little origin on you.
Yeah, guys. So I originally from the Washington D.C. area, born and raised, and my parents were born and raised there. We take a lot of trips coming down to Disney, and I think subconsciously my brother and I were always being pulled to Orlando. So he was here going to Full Sail, and 2 days after I turned 18, I said bye, and I left mom and dad to an empty nest, and I came on down. So I came to Orlando and was supposed to check it out for 2 weeks and see what I thought, but I immediately fell in love with the area, the culture, and what was happening. So right away, it wasn't a 2-week trip. It's still going on, so it's a 13-year trip at this point.
What'd you want to do? Oh, you're a baby. I forgot that. What did you want to do when you came down here? Did you have any plan or an idea?
No. I was going to go in the military, and my mom.
Were you really?
Yeah. I was training with the Marines, but I was 17 until September. So after I graduated high school, I had the whole summer, and I couldn't go in yet because I was still 17. My mom had to co-sign. And she just asked that I go live on my own for a year, see what happens when nobody's telling me what to do, and see what life is. And before I signed up, and so I did. I said I would do that for her. So I came down and joined my brother here in Orlando. And once I got here, it was to find out. So I didn't come down with a huge plan. Just knew I liked business. I'd worked for Chick-fil-A through high school. And I actually ended up getting a job over the Forsyth Chick-fil-A over there in Winter Park, and that's what started it. That's what started the journey.
Why did I hear Wawa in the middle?
Well, Wawa is eventually where I found myself. I worked at the Chick-fil-A was the theme parks, so I did the True Orlando experience. I spent 4 years.
You did it all.
I did security at Universal and have quite the stories from doing that job. I thought I'd be finding missing kids and opening doors. And we dealt with quite a bit of stuff, man. And from there, I saw the opportunity with Wawa. So since being from the Mid-Atlantic region, I'm a Wawa fanatic. I saw their coming, and at the time I was going to Valencia, so I started doing some college, and they had a college graduate program, and so I knew the opportunity. As most people can see now, I knew they'd be opening so many stores. I just knew it was going to take off. And
where was the Wawa then? Which one was it?
So I opened the first one here in Florida, and it was over by SeaWorld, the one behind SeaWorld.
No way.
Central Florida Parkway. I opened the number 2 store, which was over at Hoffner and Goldenrod.
We fought it around our neighborhood.
Oh yeah, some people they
I don't know why we did. I mean, it's fine. I was just there the other day. There was lovely.
There was a location over on Hall Road at University. I know they fought it, and they eventually moved it a little bit further down the road. That community just got theirs. But
ours is at 50 and OBT.
Yes, that was.
But I want to tell you, when I go in there, I went in there with a full purple shoes the other day. I had people taking selfies with me. I love that Wawa, but I think they're such a great company, obviously.
Yes.
Because how can you have that growth and that expansion?
Yeah, it was tough making the switch to my career now. The thing that really drove it was the real estate business, or was the 24/7.
Look who came in! We almost got it's Gil Ramos. What's happening, Gil?
So we the 24/7 aspect of it it didn't allow for the work-life balance I wanted. I love the company. I can never say enough good things about them, especially the program I was in. And
was it like a management program?
Yeah. So I ended up getting my own store. I have my own store at Curryport and Goldenrod, and I learned a lot about working on teams. I learned a lot about leadership and taking responsibility. And the 24/7 really, that responsibility was always there, as in the back
Is
of
it
my
open?
head.
That's right. Well, I'm sure. So is it open 24? I guess it is,
Yeah,
right?
we're open. The whole thing was 20. It was a deli.
How
Pumps,
does that
everything.
work? So when you're a 24/7 person, I always worry about safety, and then I wonder about shifts because I just remember having to schedule shifts on the retail side, but we weren't open 24/7.
Right. Yeah. So that's a strength I would like to say I took from them, was the accountability and then being prepared. So personally, I can only speak personally. As far as combat, scheduling and all that, I just made sure, number one, we had the right people for the job, and the safeties were built in. I would purposely schedule safeties in because it was a team effort. So if one wasn't there,
Strength in numbers.
Strength in
right?
Numbers, which is the title of the show. So, it's always key. So, I mean, we had a model, obviously, that corporate would run down and say this is what we have to follow. But not only, so sometimes I'd schedule a lecture, and it was always another store we might need help, and we'd send them down there if we had too many people.
Sure.
So it was just about, number one, being prepared, being proactive instead of reactive, and then the strength in numbers.
That's so. Jennifer says, "Go, Andrew." You got a lot of people supporting you here, including Gil Ramos behind the scenes. Strength in numbers. So let's talk about that. That's where you learned that concept. Was at Wawa?
Yes. So it started actually when
Bye, Gil.
See you, Gil. So in my youth, I was part of a group called People to People International.
Oh yeah, you got to tell me about this. I
Yeah.
asked you if you sang because I was hoping you'd sing for us.
So People to People International. A lot of people still, a lot of my friends now, their kids are being invited, and it's a great organization. But it's about connecting. It's about leadership and one globe. So I had the fortunate chance to go to Europe. I was able to go to Australia with this group, but we also did some leadership summits. And one of the things I'll never forget, in 8th grade, we did the leadership summit in Denver. So I got to
Wow,
go to
you were
Denver.
that young.
Oh yeah, 8th grade.
When did you start?
My first trip was 7th grade.
Wow.
So 8th and the 9th was Denver. I went to Europe in 11th grade, and I did the inauguration, Bush's second inauguration. They also had another leadership conference.
Wow.
So it was cool seeing that. But they had a.
By the way, guys, he's talking about the younger Bush, just for the record, because there was no
Bush
second.
two, yeah.
There was no second inauguration with the first Bush.
So I remember at the conference that they had a team building activity called the Helium Poll, and the Helium Poll, the goal is everybody on the team, you split up, so maybe 3 on one side, 3 on the other, however many, you divide it evenly, and everybody takes a camping tent pole, and you put on, and everybody puts 2 fingers out, and you lay the pole over, and then once everybody makes contact with the pole, the objective starts, but the objective is to lower the pole together, and it will feel like there's helium in it because somewhere somebody isn't on the same track. They're not doing the same motion. So it's
very
number one
cool.
to get people to communicate, to figure out leadership, to figure out teamwork, and if at any point anyone's fingers comes off the pole, then you have to start over.
And what grade was this?
I was in 7th grade.
So here's the deal. What I love about this, and by the way, hi Louie, yeah, no glasses. Hi Carla. The thing is that you that was so impactful in 7th grade that you can still talk about the exercise as if it was yesterday.
Right, and it was, and two. I mean, I can't think of the song title, but the Black Eyed Peas song about where's the love? Where is the love? That came out that.
Oh, you're
year.
gonna sing? See,
Oh,
I knew.
you
Up
almost
with
had me.
people almost.
Yeah,
there it was.
another
another cocktail.
I'll
That's
sing.
usually the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. People that know me know I'll sing it.
All right, so that obviously gave you a great base, right? So you've got that base. You got people. What is it called? People to people.
People to people. International.
How long were you involved in that organization?
So technically, still a member. I haven't done as much
Still
as
a
a
member.
Yeah, I haven't done as much as an adult. When I was
Tiffany
a kid.
says you're a great singer.
Thank you for everyone.
We
Thank
wanna
you,
hear
Tiffany.
more.
Yes, we'll see. Maybe that'll be my sign off. People to People is a membership that you keep through your life once you become a member. But when you're a kid, you can get the community to help pay for your trips. When you're an adult, they're not as giving with the funds to go on these trips. So I also learned how to fundraise at a young age. I had to go around and say I'm going to represent this community.
Did you knock door to door?
Wrote businesses, more along the lines of writing out to businesses and letting them know that I was representing the
So you were
Southern Maryland
basically
area.
set up with that with the entrepreneurial field. Like you had it at an early age.
Yeah, yeah. I was selling gum, sticks of gum in school when I was in sixth grade.
Sure.
I met my good friend Jason selling bottles of water outside the Magic Arena during the playoffs.
Jason loves a hustler. That's his word. And I think hustling used to have a bad connotation to it, but I think it's such a great word because you're hustling all the time. You're figuring out what the point is that's good for you that maybe nobody else is thinking about, the niche, and you're trying to figure out how to maneuver through it.
Right, right. Yeah.
So how did you get to real estate?
Yeah, so an opportunity came up when I was working for Wawa. I had a friend of mine. He had a company that he started. He went to Full Sail himself, so I had a lot of Full Sail friends. But he built a recording studio in his closet and figured out how to build the panels. And he started selling to other Full Sail students, and then started selling them to other businesses. And he came to me and said that he wants to take his business out of Orlando and statewide and further, and wanted some of my Wawa experience with corporate and the process and following the systems and creating the system. So we had an opportunity to come up to be on the TV show The Profit, which we were on that show with Marcus Lemonis.
Oh, you were on that show?
I was on The Profit.
No way!
Yeah,
oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was quite the experience. But part reality show, part two friends working together. They wanted us in Pennsylvania. I wasn't able to make that move, and after about 6 months of leaving Wawa for that opportunity, 6-7 months, it didn't happen. It didn't go the way we had seen it for solid in our heads. Still good friends with my friend Brad that started the company, and I think it's important, again, strength in numbers, which is our theme here, because sure enough, he has seen success. He's coming back. He needs me to help him and find a commercial spot now, and that's a real reason that I believe in staying, having people around you, like-minded people around you.
To talk about that, because strength in numbers, I agree with you. So I think a lot of people think of that as I've got to have an army of people behind me. But talk about the numbers, because you just said that you're one friend. I mean, that's still strength in numbers. Mm-hmm. How does that work in your mind? Because I feel like you applied that to all of your business. I'm aware of what you do. I think you're very innovative, creative, especially in our world, our crazy world of real estate, anything to do with real estate. But you approach it differently. So if strength in numbers are important, why? And then specifically, what do you do to make sure that you have the strength in numbers?
Yeah, so it's important. Number one, either to be with like-minded people, but even if it's not like-minded people, there's strength there, and the strength is that whatever you might, first, why is because we got to admit that we're not the best at everything, and the sooner you have that conversation with yourself and you realize that, the faster you are to your final destination and where your end goal. So a lot of the teams I'm on now, we have it's sometimes it's that maybe the other person is my opposite. So I'm on a team with Dan Rojas in our immediate real estate. So that team, him and I are opposites, and we came together knowing that. We said, okay, what you do well, I might not, and what you might not be as well at, I might be, and so that was key into moving us forward, because in that specific scenario, he's a D, he does everything right away, he does it now. I like to procrastinate. So, but I like to do things together, and he likes to do it and just go forward, and either with him or you're not. So, we gel well together, and I think that's why that team is successful. Some other teams I'm a part of, it's more about the mentorship, or maybe what resources they have that I don't have as an individual. So I think the biggest thing is if you're out there and you're trying to start any type of company. Same thing like with my old partner Brad. While we reached out to Marcus Lemonis, we didn't have the capital, but we needed somebody with the capital to get the business going. So, there's strength, and Brad brought me in, and we started. It was just bring me in and have a discussion. He didn't know when he asked me to to leave Wawa to come join him that we eventually right into the Profit and have this go and everything go the way it did. But it just came us getting together, collaborating, and that's the biggest thing is if you talk to somebody long enough, you'll figure out how you're related. And there's somewhere it's there.
That is true.
Somewhere in there's something that relates you, either 7 degrees of separation or what have you, sooner or later. But when you bring together, more than just yourself, more than one or two people, and you have a good circle of friends or circle of business, a lot of supporters, just stuff comes up, and you need that collaboration. The collaboration is what's going to keep you ahead of the trend. and they might know something you didn't know, and they might be able to bring forward some information that maybe.
How do you bring ego into that? Not you, but what I'm thinking is a lot of people think that they don't trust people enough to rely on them or to collaborate. I think people also look at collaboration as competition. And so, how do you address that?
Yeah, so in all honesty, maybe some Gary V's gonna come out in me here now.
I
And
like
you know
it.
what? And I wasn't a Gary Vee fan, but Brad.
One of the things I forgot to tell you.
So Brad had me listen to him. If you don't think in a world of 6 billion plus people that we don't operate in a world of abundance, that your idea is your, only yours. Either somebody out there already has probably a similar idea, but in all honesty, for me, as far as checking egos, so number one, operate in a world of abundance that it's out there, opportunities out there, whether I share my ideas or not. It's still going to take off. Number two, don't sweat the small stuff. If there's something, whether some people get so wrapped up in like, oh, well, they didn't, your name's not there, or you're not getting the same recognition. Hey, I know what my agreements are with my teams and my collaborators, and I know I know the checks are getting cut. So I don't sweat the small stuff. And then I think the last advice would be Q-tip. Quit taking it personal. It's when it comes to business, it shouldn't be personal. If it is getting personal, then it's no longer a business.
How do you separate out the personal? Because I think when you're talking about collaboration and strength in numbers, there has to be at least some sort of symbiotic relationship. There has to be something there. And then I think a lot of people have a difficult time going, all right, so I can have a discussion, a difference of opinion, maybe we don't agree, but that doesn't mean it's comfortable, and a lot of people don't know how to figure out how to maneuver around that.
Yes, I would say start by setting what the non-negotiables are. So as a person, this is non-negotiable for me. I love this person. That's never going to change. That was something that happened with the experience at Overtone. I love my girlfriend. I wasn't going to move to Pennsylvania and end that relationship, and it's not something I was willing to risk. So, and Brad knew that. And so when it came up that I needed to go up there, it was already discussed. So, figure out what the non-negotiables are, and if there's ever a time that you're feeling, if you're getting wrapped up and it is becoming personal, it is becoming emotional, I like to say take 24 hours, take the emotion out of it, and then let's revisit that conversation, let's talk again. That's something Wawa taught me. I remember when I went to go leave, my boss told me to take 48 hours. That's how I knew it was a big decision. It was no longer 24 hours, it was 48 hours.
Well, that's because you have, a lot of people don't understand, you have this full-time job with benefits, vacation days, and then all of a sudden you're making a leap to an unknown, and you're also making a leap to something that doesn't have that safety net. And I think there's nothing wrong with having that, having a salary, having all of those benefits. But if you want to pursue your dream, a lot of times it's outside of that regular job scenario.
Yeah, I mean, not so much regular job or not regular job. It's if that's fulfilling what your desire. I mean, if that fulfills, your most important thing is your family, and you're able to provide, and you guys have the lifestyle you want, and you're happy. That's the key. That's the ROI on life, is to be happy. It's not to get to the grave with the most.
Why do people, by the way, before I ask that question, Brooksy, I'm going to have to ask that later. Bobby Davidovitz, you should come over and crash, because you know what? Gil was here and supporting. Where are you? I hear you're next door. You should come right in. We're in Duncan, by the way. I think that people, they misunderstand the collaboration part, the part about how you can work in an industry with other people who are in the same industry, and yet both of you are benefiting, and they don't know how to do it. So the strength in numbers, that's why I love this topic. The strength in numbers is so critical, and yet people literally just want to isolate.
Yeah, I would say again, the operate in a world of abundance. I think
I love the abundance part.
As far as like, I mean, it's just a collaboration, and just like we see in music, it works a majority of the time. So I don't know if every
apparently Brooksy sings. That's my new name.
So so I mean, really collaborating. I mean, it's so key, because although you might miss on, especially in our industry, you might, maybe this one deal, but the fact of the matter is they're teaching and I'm learning other things. And I trust people until they give me a reason not to. And, if I get burned on one, just like there was the movie, The Bronx Tale, hey, if it only costs $20 for you to learn that lesson, just so for me, it's tough. I know for a lot of people it's tough to throw that caution to the wind and say, I'm going to trust you. But I think you'll be surprised if you do. I think if you trust people and you hold them to that standard, you'll more times.
And then you said set the expectation. That's not your words, but you said you had to set the boundaries.
Non-negotiable, yeah.
Yeah, there's certain non-negotiables. That's a great word. Certain non-negotiables. Look, if this is your non-negotiable, and it doesn't work with 50 or 60 people, so you want to always reevaluate what your non-negotiable is. But you also want to take a look. All right, you can find people if it's not a non-negotiable that is so out there that people can't do it. That's one thing. But if it's a non-negotiable, like I'm a big person on loyalty, I'm huge on get here on time, because my time's important. And so I think, nobody sees that, by the way.
Okay.
I think it's so important to have that. And what if it's not important to you, like being on time, like you were here a few minutes early, which I love that. I have people that show up, if we're going to do it, if I tell them to be here at 12:30, they're here at 12:55, right before we go on air. That's the kind of stuff I'm like, I know that might be your speed, but that's disrespectful. That's a non-negotiable for me. All right, talk about, I always like to ask people the real estate world. So I believe, my opinion is that we are at low interest rates. I mean, still historically low. What do you think about when you hear in the mainstream media that the market's tanking, that it's a terrible market, hold on to your money, go rent? There's so many things that go on in mainstream media, and people watch that and listen to that. So talk about your experience in the current market.
Well, it depends, and that's the key to a lot of the real estate questions that are out there. Is it depends, because everybody's situation is unique. As far as where we stand right now, personally, I know the average day on market right now is around 64, 65 days on market. We have a balanced market between 90 and 120 days on market. So we're not even close to that balanced market yet. And to see a crash, we'd have to be beyond 120 days on average on the market.
Right.
So it does depend. Could there be? I can only speak specifically to the Orlando market. I know our growth is projected, like 10%. For the next our next 5-year migration rate is going to be around 10% or higher. And the opportunity is still here. And like I said, based off the numbers we have, I would say it's very hard. I mean, mortgage rates are low, as you said. The days on market are still good. We still have buyers coming in. So, it's classic business where it's, what's the demand? There still is demand. And, is there correction? Of course, we look at history and you can see there's always going to be. But each market is different. Each neighborhood is different. Could there be in a certain Orlando neighborhood that is, in a peak? But it's to be foreseen, because it's all about supply and demand, and the demand's still there. We still have the people coming to Orlando. The tech industry is growing here. The airport is adding another terminal. The tourism.
Look at you knowing the data. That's the other thing I think is, I have to put my glasses on. My eyes are killing me. No, it's not. It's not you. It's me. I think that's what's great about what you're talking about, is that you actually know the market. So that's the other thing I always tell people. I'm like, all right, so the people who are screaming the sky is falling, do they actually understand the market and what's going on in their specific market? If you want to talk about an overall thing, the world is in a crisis. All right, I'll agree with you. But if you're going to try to apply that to your local business, especially what Andrew's doing, he knows it. He eats it, lives it, breathes it. And I want you guys to work with experts that are in our world, because it doesn't matter if it's real estate. I don't care what you're doing. If they're just trying to give you advice because that's what they heard. I actually had somebody I was trying to find, because it's absolutely impossible to find anybody who does landscaping well on the planet, in my opinion. I was trying to find someone. They said, well, in our area, they were in Deltona. I live downtown. Know your market, people.
Yeah.
And that's what Andrew's saying, I think. I think it's very important for you to know what your market is.
And I think to that, also, if people would stop spending so much time worrying, looking at what the last 10 years was and start focusing on what their next 10 years could be, I think that's a lot of that going on because of what we saw in 08, 09. I mean, that was once in a generational, maybe since the oil crisis in the 70s. But I think it's just because it's so fresh, and especially for being a millennial, there's the first major crisis we went through. It's such a they all are so ready to be Nostradamus, if you will, that
Nostradamus.
So because
I haven't heard that since the Mayan calendar years.
So since the last 10 years was this or that, they want to dictate that's what the next 10, and you just don't know. I'm looking, like I said, operating in a world of abundance. Should something, it's not there, and
Right.
It depends.
Right. All right. So tell us anything, strength in numbers, before we head out, because we're going to share all of Andrew's contact information, how you can reach out to him. Don't you want to know more? You're very well spoken. Not that I didn't doubt you were, but a lot of times people come on and they.
I'm reserved. I mean, I'm sure when you see me, I've been reserved.
You are reserved. That's a great word for it. I'm glad you have the self-awareness, though, to know that. And then people come on. It's just like Shauna LaFont was on earlier. Mm-hmm. She's literally reserved in public, and she got on the show and shared her knowledge. That's what you want, and that's why people love and respond to you well, because you share that. So we're going to share all of his contact information, how you can reach out to him, how you can learn more. Maybe you want the secret Wawa thing, because apparently there's a whole secret menu and secret this and secret that.
I got that. It's almost a brand, because people see me still wearing Wawa. And they go, oh, you used to work for Wawa. I go, well, they say you work for Wawa. I go, I did, but now I'm in real estate. So it's a
when I went into the Wawa before I let you say your last piece, I was at the one by my house on 50 and OBT. And I ran into one person I know who's in real estate, couldn't believe it. They took a selfie. And so as soon as that selfie hit, I was in purple shoes. I got people, oh my God, apparently I need to know you. Yeah. So I had selfies taken of me, and I just said, I'm with the TED Show. Can't make that up. All right, so any parting words of wisdom for them? Anything you want to share before we head out?
Yeah, I like to say that we impress people with our accomplishments, but we connect with them through our shortfalls. And I think that's a key saying to understand that just because you see somebody and they see these accomplishments, you don't know what they might also be going through, and that's really, you can connect with somebody. And like I was saying earlier, when we talk about finding a way to connect, go ahead and not be afraid to share your struggles in life, and you'll probably find a way to connect with them.
I love the shortfall part. Another word for that we use on the show is vulnerability. So if you share that, what Andrew's saying, and I totally agree with you, is if you share that vulnerability, you share your shortfalls. Like right now, I'll get messages later, I wish, Ted, I was as together as Andrew and you are. Okay, I talk about it all the time. I'm not together, and I love him to death. He seems together, and he is, but he's not perfect. We all have struggles. He still has struggles. I have struggles. And what's great about it is he's saying, look, if you've got struggles too, I'm with you. I'm on the same boat as you. We're all on the same playing field. So we have to stop focusing on what we don't have. We also have to stop comparing ourselves in our minds to what's going on here. Just because I have two people in front of my phone on a Facebook Live show doesn't mean that I have it all together, and neither does Andrew. So strength in numbers again, back to strength in numbers. You want to have people in your corner. You want to have people that are in your circle that are also in your corner. And so you have to figure that stuff out. But what he's saying is you have to have some vulnerability. You have to be willing to admit, I've got some issues, I've got some shortfalls, and not worry about the ramifications of that. Because in all honesty, there really are no ramifications of admitting what pretty much everybody else knows. It's really all about you trying to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And then once you admit it, then you got people who are going to help you do it, strength in numbers again. So I love this topic. You've been a joy to have on.
Thank you
Adore
so much.
you. Appreciate your business. I love this guy.
Thank you for watching, guys.
Thank you guys so much. Had 2 phone calls in the middle of it, and Andrew's a trooper, as he always is. We're going to get him another cocktail. Thanks, Gil, for joining us. Bobby, I don't know what happened to you, but we love you guys.
Cheers.
Mwah. See you soon.